I really enjoyed reading this week's text, The Ethics of the Brand, and I do think that I agree with many of the claims that Egan and Wire made. I appreciate that these authors address a very large elephant in the room, especially still in 2025, which is the relationship between ethics and capitalism, and if these two can coexist at all. I think it's imperative for us as citizens and consumers to think deeply and critically about this. And I feel like it'll give us some insight into just understanding the public sphere and the social sphere that we live in right now by understanding the relationship between ethics and capitalism. So after doing my own research, after reading the text and everything, it seems like the conclusion to this is that they cannot both exist genuinely together. It's basically because capitalism is rooted in a lack of ethics and fairness. Capitalism is about winning. It's not about, people all having equal opportunity and people being treated fairly. Capitalism is about winning, about being the best, about making the biggest profit, about being the most powerful. So yeah, when we begin to discuss, ethical branding and choosing as consumers to only consume brands that seem to support our own ethics and morals, it appears that even this effort is hardly ethical. And honestly, on behalf of a company or a brand, these acts are the opposite of ethical. And it's because sometimes these brands use ethical branding as a facade. The ethical branding is not real, but it just contributes to their brand image. They want consumers to think they are acting sustainably, ethically, fairly, inclusively without actually doing any of these things or doing them very vaguely and then listing them out as if, that's one of the core pillars of their brand. So this text made me think about a marketing and branding class that I actually took last semester. And in that class, we learned about greenwashing, which is the act of companies putting on a facade of being sustainable. Meanwhile, their contributions are vague and not on the same large scale that they produce on. Greenwashing, is, like I previously stated, it helps the brand's image, and it honestly even takes the attention away from things that they might be doing that is not ethical, and it doesn't have anything to do with environmentally. Maybe they're not treating all of their employees with equity, or treating them all ethically. Then they'll use greenwashing to take away from that and focus more on how they're being sustainable. And in some instances, they're not even being as sustainable as they lead on to be. But with greenwashing, I want to talk about that. So I chose an artifact that was written by the United Nations, and it was titled Greenwashing: The Deceptive Tactics Behind Environmental Claims. And so through this article, the UN basically explained different tactics that brands may use to swindle consumers. And this will include using intentionally misleading labels like green or eco-friendly. You might have seen that listed on a shampoo bottle or packaging for one of your snacks. It'll say eco-friendly on it. And that just doesn't have any actual measurable action. What does that actually mean? So yeah, then they also explain how, basically the planet cannot afford any more delays or greenwashing. We need real initiatives. We need them soon, and we need them fast if we want our planet to be healthy and to live. And one of the main issues about greenwashing is the fact that this facade takes away from the actual huge problem that Earth is facing, which is global warming. So greenwashing tricks consumers into believing they're doing their part by picking more sustainable brands that they feel appeal more to their ethics, but in reality, no one's contributing to sustainability if these claims are simply not true, or even if they're exaggerated, then no one's, contributing as much as they thought that they were. So yeah, I think greenwashing is a true example of how ethical branding is merely for a company's image majority of the time. Truly sustainable brands, that will be a part of their actual brand identity. They don't have some products that are sustainable and some that aren't. They don't release sustainable lines and then go, for next season and release another line that isn't sustainable. So if you think about a company that has like we just talked about, like a sustainable line. They have a new sustainable line, but then they come out with another line afterwards, not sustainable. Then basically they're just canceling out. They didn't really do much for the environment. And honestly, they're operating with capitalism in mind. And they likely just want to appeal to both consumer groups that appreciate and support sustainability and ones that, may not look out for sustainability as much. So, in conclusion, capitalism and ethics cannot truly, genuinely, organically exist together side by side. Sometimes companies can act ethically, but ethical branding seems to usually be a ploy unless that is a brand's direct identity, that is a brand's direct place in society. So, yeah.